I'm tired of the lies they spin. They're feeding us poison, where do I begin? Every headline feels like a sin. Oh, it's a game we're stuck in, can't win. Barack signed the papers, gave them the key. NDAA took our truth, can't you see? Smithman's shadow, it's haunting me. Propaganda flows like a dark raging sea. They twist the words, make us blind. Realities are lost in their cruel grind. Who's telling the truth? Man, it's hard to find. In this media maze, we're all confined. We're rising up, can't take no more. Truth on our lips, it's time to roar. No more shadows, we'll break free. With every heartbeat, we'll make them see. Together we'll stand united and bold. No more lies, let the story be told. In this fight for truth, we'll find our way. We'll light the dark, bring a brand new day. I'm screaming loud, but no one hears. Drowning in cycles of our own fears. The truth's a ghost, shedding bitter tears. Oh, the anger rises, it's been years. So I'll sing my blues, let the world know. Fight for the truth, let the fire grow. We're breaking the chains, it's time to show. We won't be silenced, we'll steal the show. In the silence, hear the cries, voices echo, breaking tide. Every tear, a story untold. In the ashes, we rise bold. No more whispers, we'll shout loud. Together strong, we're a fierce crowd. With every step, we take the stand, fighting for truth. Hand in hand, let the walls shake, let the truth ring. We'll write the lyrics, let freedom sing. From the shadows, we'll break away. In this moment, we'll seize the day. We're rising up, can't take no more. Truth on our lips, it's time to roar. No more shadows, we'll break free. With every heartbeat, we'll make them see. Together we'll stand united and bold. No more lies, let the story be told. In this fight for truth, we'll find our way. We'll light the dark, bring a brand new day.
Yeah. You don't get to look away anymore. Not after what we've seen. Not after what we know. Can't sugarcoat evil, I refuse to disguise. Truth hit different when you look in their eyes. Little shoes on the staircase cold. Teddy bear stories that were never told. Paper trails buried deep in the vault. Everyone pointing fingers, not my fault. Money moves quiet, power moves slick. Smiles on TV while the system's sick. High walls, black cars, tinted glass. Closed door meetings, let the scandals pass. You say conspiracy to silence the room, but the victims ain't theories, they carry the wounds. We were distracted, divided by noise, arguing headlines, girls and boys. Meanwhile, predators leverage position, protected by status, wealth and tradition. If justice blind, who tied the cloth? Who benefits most when the truth gets lost? If power's clean, then why the fear? When sealed up, pages start coming near.
Wake up, no more shadows, no more silence, no more halos. You can't hide behind the fame. If you fed the fire, you share the flame. Wake up, hear that sound, that's the truth. Breaking ground for every child who lost their life. We stand up, we fight tonight.
400,000, missing a year. Tell me why the number don't trigger fear. Why the outrage fade in the weak? Why the strong stay silent when the small can't speak? Institutions polished in gold, preaching mercy but the record's cold. If you knew and turned away, silence made you complicit that day. Not left, not right, this ain't a side. Evil don't care about party lines. It's about power abused in dark, about stolen futures before they start. Bought rooms, back rooms, private flights, handshakes hidden from public sights. If your wealth was built on pain, history gon' carve your name. Truth don't die, it waits its turn. Every lie got a fuse that burns. When it sparks, don't act surprised. We warned you once, we're done being quiet.
Wake up, no more shadows, no more silence, no more halos. You can't hide behind the fame. If you fed the fire, you share the flame. Wake up, hear that cry, that's a child asking why. For every tear that fell unseen, we breaking chains, we intervene.
Don't call it hate when we call out wrong. Protecting children ain't extreme, it's strong. You uncomfortable, good, sit with it. Truth ain't gentle when it's explicit. If the stage was bright, but the deals were dark. If the laughter masked a predator's mark. If you profited off the broken and small, the reckoning coming for one and all. No more heroes called from lies, no more idols we idolize. Character measured by what you defend, not the image you try to send. This ain't vengeance, this is guard duty. Standing 10 toes for human dignity. If you righteous, then stand with us. If you guilty, start feeling the rush because the tide turning. You feel that shift. No more shielding, the powerful click. Every child worth more than gold, and we the generation bold.
Hold the line, protect the young. No more deals behind closed doors done. If we the people, prove it now, not someday later, not somehow. Love ain't passive, faith ain't blind. Reflected in our eyes. Wake up, hear that sound, that's the system shaking down. For every child who lost their life, we stand up, we fight tonight. We stand up, we fight tonight. We stand up.
Sun's peeking over the mountain line. Coffee's hot and I'm feeling fine. Walking through rows that are grown with care. Sweet little flowers, perfume there. 8 years tending this patch of green. Medicine's the way I've always seen. No hurry, no race, no nose at parade. Just another good day that Bubba made. Slow your roll, take a breath. Life ain't always gotta run at full speed. Bubba sets the tone today. Everything just melts away. Coffee, sunshine, cedar trees, mountain air and easy breeze. Smiling while I'm walking around. Got my feet up on the ground. If life gets loud, I simply say, Bubba sets the tone today. Bubba sets the tone today. Hey! These ain't trophies sitting on a shelf. This is medicine to help myself. Tiny crystals, orange hairs, nature put a little kindness there. One good flower can change the pace, put a smile right back on your face. Ain't about escaping where I've been, it's about feeling whole again. Turn the worries down, turn the music up, sit a spell, fill your cup. Sometimes healing looks a whole lot like a peaceful afternoon. Bubba sets the tone today, chasing heavy thoughts away. Fields are green and skies are blue, simple things will see you through. No big speech and no campaign, just a little sunshine after rain. From the porch you'll hear me say, Bubba sets the tone today. Bubba sets the tone today.
See anything? Why can't I see anything? Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Hawks Mustard Seeds one more time. Yeah, you know who I am. I'm the annoying SOB that breaks in anytime he wants. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, wherever you're joining us from today, thank you for spending a little time, a little part of your day with me. Yeah. Big question today is one that I know a lot of people are thinking about. I mean, some people aren't thinking about it at all, but there's a lot of people who are thinking about it, and that is, can peace hold while the world remains on edge? You know, we're watching what's happening with Spain. We're watching, overnight we saw a movement toward a possible diplomacy, possible ceasefire framework, I guess you'd call it, in the Middle East. While questions continue to surround Iran, regional stability, and whether foreign policy can finally gain traction, after these months of conflict. Well, back here at home, Washington remains deeply divided. Foreign policy, immigration, direction of the country, and political season that's upon us is it's heating up all over again. Once again, same old bullshit. Promises, and nothing coming to fruition. If they really gave a shit about their positions, then they would have done something. They would have gotten it done already. At the same time, Wall Street is reacting to another wave of technology earnings, with AI continuing to reshape the industry at a pace few of them you ever thought, or could have imagined just a few years ago. Look at it now. Unless they know something we don't. As always, we'll separate the headlines from the bigger picture. We try to, anyways. News moves fast, emotions move even faster, and then oftentimes wisdom requires us to slow down and ask the harder questions. Are today's events bringing the world closer to lasting peace, or simply setting the stage for tomorrow's new obstacles or challenges, whatever the hell you want to call them. What role should America play? And how do we hold on to hope when every headline seems to pull us in different directions, right? This story, that story, this story, that story. It's the division, the scattering of the brain, the squirrel that constantly runs across the screen. And so that's where our conversation is going to go today. We're going to be covering the president at Camp David. A couple of the things that he said. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I got very little sleep. I got a couple hours here, and then I was awake for a couple hours, and then I slept for a couple hours, and awake a couple hours, sleep a couple hours, and it's more the consistency and the thought that flare-ups happen. All right, those roots underground that were cooking, that were burning, can kick back up again. And it's all it takes is a good wind to provide the oxygen necessary in order for the flame to do its thing, and we're right back where we started again. And I don't want to be in that position. So I got up. I think it was about 2:45, maybe even 3 o'clock this morning. I went over and grabbed the water truck from the neighbor's field there, and just totally saturated the entire field again. And because I wanted to sleep more than an hour, more than two, he got burned up pretty good. So, if you go back to the day Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I posted a video back then, and you can look at what that field looked like, and I'll get some after pictures to share with you guys on the next podcast. But this guy, cattle ranchers, grass growers, and I'm not talking about the grass you smoke. However, if your feet aren't touching grass, you probably should be smoking some grass, because that would probably loosen some of you up, because some of you are extremely uptight, and that worries me. Today I'll give you an example. I made a decision today that I'm turning off the chat programs for a while, because it seems that the only thing that people want to do is argue, yell at each other, fight, downgrade each other. And that kind of negativity on a consistent basis isn't good. It's not. It's actually demoralizing. I want to see people helping their fellow man, picking, a hand up, not a handout, a hand up. And we don't see enough of it. So, but so settle in, grab your bowl, grab your bong, grab your joints, because I'm already having a safety meeting. I just didn't bother telling anybody else, because I was having I was having a private moment. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me for having a private moment. I can do that. I can do that. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get on over here. All right. So, I do got to scroll down a little bit. Let me let this thing load so that I can get. I had a couple of things last night that I saw. I didn't spend a whole lot of time online when I was up, just because I get so tired of all this negativity and everything. And I think this is where we left off yesterday. Yeah, I think this is. It's. I don't know what it is. I'm tired of everything being bad. Tired of it. You know, I don't think it's in people's nature to be this way. I don't. I don't think that we're supposed to hate each other. I don't think that we're supposed to dislike everything that everybody does. I I mean, yes, staying away from immoral behaviors and so on and so forth. I get all that. I get all that. No problem. But it's like people spend so much time just laying it on. And the thing is they think that they're insulting you, and in all actuality, the only thing that they're doing is insulting themselves. You know, you're 50 or 60 years old. You know, you've gone through a life already. You know, your days of being laughed at and ridiculed and picked apart and judged and everything else, all that shit should be over. You know, they should. I'm just, am I wrong to think that way? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm looking too much at other people. But it's like, this isn't the way that I was raised. This isn't the world that I want to live in like this. It's not. It's not. It's disappointing. And I will go as far as to say it's pretty fucking depressing sometimes. It is. It's depressing. And I'm not, I mean, I've had periods in my life where I went through a depression, and that's, normally that was surrounding people that I knew and loved that died. Those were the most depressing times, and being alone after they died. That was but one thing was because of the other, and it's almost like how we beat up on the Democrats for the stupid shit that they do. Okay, but they leave themselves easy targets, and I get that. But it's kind of like this daily humiliation ritual that none of us need. We don't need it, and we don't need to give it, because they're giving it to themselves. Misery loves company, right? Misery loves company. And if you've seen Misery, they start with the ankles. And a sledgehammer. But you see where I'm going with this? I don't know. I'll shut up. I'll shut up. Let's get into the news. Here we go. Patriot Dad EV 2.0.
Why it feels like the entire world has been mobilized to try to destroy Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. This chart right here is why they hate the man with every fiber of their being. It has nothing to do with his bluster, the way he communicates, how fat he is, the color of his skin, the color of his hair. Has nothing to do with any of that. Doesn't have anything to do with the Epstein files or anything else. It's this chart right here. Before Donald Trump came down the golden escalators in 2015, the globalists and internationalists were well on their way to dismantling the entire Western civilization. They were well on their way to totally destroying the cultural hegemony of the United States. Americanism was almost dead. And then Donald Trump came down the escalator, and he made the pillar of his entire presidency immigration, building a wall, stopping this from happening. As we now watch countries like Spain's border collapse and thousands of military-aged men flood into the country in one day, and their leadership doing nothing to stop it, it is becoming crystal clear that this is the reason why they hate Donald Trump so much. This chart shows you what they planned all throughout the Biden administration and executed, and what Donald Trump stopped. This is the reason why it feels like all the forces of internationalism, of globalism, the politics of confiscation, the media, the Democrat Party, the EU, the United Nations, all of them. This right here is why they hate the man, and this is why they have to destroy the man. He's the only one who was willing to stand up and put a stop to that, the destruction of Western civilization.
Yep. And that right there is this is the monthly southwestern border encounters in the thousands. Okay, so it's basically showing from 2021 to about 185,000. Okay, moving up to over 200,000 in 2022, at around 250,000. And this is 12, the 12 months as we go. In December of 2022, we were at 250,000. And, by the same time or just a few months later in 2024, we're looking at 300,000. All right. And then Trump comes in at the beginning of 2025. And what do we got? We got this steady little, no more than 10,000. No more than 10,000 are coming in. And those are people who are being vetted, that have to go through the State Department, that have to go through the proper channels, that have to do it the legal way. And on top of that, it's some of them are actually buying their citizenship, okay, by not only if I'm not mistaken, it's wasn't it? It was at one point they said it was going to be around 5 million, but I think they ended it at like 1 million. Okay, but they have to, at the same time that they do that, they have to they have to open a business that hires Americans. Okay, and that kind of made sense to me. It's the tickets, the gold tickets, I think they called, or silver tickets, or whatever they were. That's not a bad way, but if you think about it, where are you getting $1 million from? First off, okay, what kind of business were you in? They're going to go through that proper vetting. Who are your known associates? Are you directly connected to any terrorist organization, or outside communist organizations that could be harmful to our country, right? So there are legitimate ways to come in, but the fact of the matter of that free and open border, that's a lot of people to get out of here. That's a lot of people to get out of here. A lot of people that have been attacks on our system, where you and I cannot go and get the help that we need because these people have used it so corruptly that the federal government said finally they're taking it away from them. Yeah. Just saying. All right. So newly released footage shows Lindsey Graham acting as a foreign agent for Israel, conspiring with Benjamin Netanyahu during a phone call about protecting him from his war crimes charges. Netanyahu suggests using blackmail against the ICC prosecutor, Karim Khan, to undermine the court's credibility. Graham discusses recruiting other Democrats along with Speaker Mike Johnson as the perfect pawn. Oh, let's take a listen, guys. Let's take a listen. And I kept my banner down because of the fact that I want you guys to be able to see the closed caption, because some of it you can't understand, so some of it you can. All right. So let me bring it back to the start.
Basically, they're going to have a three-judge panel approaching making the decision very soon. It's possible to appeal to the court to say, okay, we want to review this. Before you do anything, before you do a red warrant, there has to be a review about this entire process. And I suggest that you send a letter with maybe with some other senators. I don't know if you can get any Democrats.
I tell you, the perfect person would be the Speaker, Speaker Johnson.
Would be what?
Speaker Johnson.
What he would get the other people to.
No, to have him on the letter.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. If you get any Democrats.
I don't know. I won't know that I'll try. But I will try. I promise you that.
Basically, they're going to have a three-judge panel
So
approaching.
yeah, and what exactly was Lindsey trying to get Mike Johnson involved with? Netanyahu suggests using blackmail against the ICC prosecutor Karim Khan to undermine the court's credibility. Graham discusses recruiting other Democrats. I'm just saying there's something to it. So LT put this up July 30th. And we know breaking Senate blocks Iran War Powers Resolution 49-50. Fetterman jumped ship and voted with the Republicans. This has now been defeated around a dozen times. Meanwhile, the Senate still won't move the Save America Act on the floor. Yeah. All right. And then don't forget, President Trump always tells us they're all poison. This is Dr. David Greer. He's a biochemist, Washington, D.C.
Show them the thimerosal bomb, which we keep in a metal container because we're a little afraid of it, and it's a very fine powder.
This is thimerosal, which is labeled very toxic, has cumulative effects, can cause damage to the kidneys, to the respiratory system, skin, to the nervous system. It specifically warns on here that it can cause reproductive and developmental toxicity, meaning that it can cause things like autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders. This is immensely toxic stuff.
And it's in vaccine.
And this is what's in the vaccine. It's important to realize we're talking about a whole range of products. Vaccines are a big one because, of course, you're directly injecting it. For example, this is tetanus vaccine. This one expires, it's a little outdated now, in 2007. Here's the thimerosal. 1 to 10,000 is a preservative. Perhaps the biggest one in the U.S., at least, that's for exposure to mercury is the influenza vaccine. Influenza vaccine is now recommended for all pregnant women, all infants, all children on a yearly basis. You're supposed
You
to
have last year's influenza? Understand that thimerosal is not added at the end. It's not like, well, that factory next year could make thimerosal free. Thimerosal, you either have to have a thimerosal free factory or you have to not have one. They add thimerosal at each step because the factory is not clean and not sterile. So you either have to have an expensive sterile factory where you don't need thimerosal, or you have to have one that produces thimerosal. It's going to need thimerosal or something the whole time. It needs to be stopped.
This is the influenza vaccine from Adventist Pasteur, their flu zone. Thimerosal, 25 micrograms of mercury per dose.
I'd like to point out that a lot of people didn't know, and I'm one of them. I've given 2,000 Rogam shots. I've been in vaccines for 35 years. I didn't know that Rogam had thimerosal in it. So I think a lot of the doctors were unaware. They were unaware that even the word thimerosal meant mercury.
And yeah, So President Trump shared that last year. I couldn't have shared that with you last year without losing my channel because YouTube's pockets were being fed by the WHO. You notice you don't hear about the WHO anymore, right? Anybody notice that? You don't hear nothing about the WHO anymore, and you barely hear anything in regards to the WEF. We're headed to the German store. I don't know what that German store is. Yeah. Maybe that was supposed to be a grocery store. I don't know. Oh, the German store. She's going to the pet store for the stuff for the dogs. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah. All right. Just in, 9/11 families continue to speak out. Already 50,000 signatures have been gathered opposing Zoran Mamdani's attendance at the Ground Zero commemorative event. Let's take a listen.
I'm attending this year's ceremony marking 25 years since the 9/11 terror attack. So far, 50,000 people have signed on. Here's part of it. The mayor's failure to meaningfully acknowledge the horror of that day and his association with individuals who have minimized 9/11, defended terrorists, or even suggested America deserved the attacks. Actress Patricia Heaton posted in support, writing, "Keep it going, New Yorkers." Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy sarcastically asked, "I wonder why the families don't want him there." He listed a host of reasons, including campaigning with influencer Hassan Piker, who says the U.S. deserved 9/11. Mamdani's father justified suicide bombers as a type of a soldier. Mamdani has refused to condemn the phrase globalize the Intifada, which is exactly what 9/11 was. He took a photo of one of the co-conspirators of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. He was in that pic, I understand. He's repeatedly called to defund police. Mamdani apparently doesn't care what those people want. As you said, Ari, here he is just this week.
I will proudly honor the families, the survivors, the first responders forever impacted by that horrific terror attack by standing alongside them at this year's 9/11 commemoration.
Ari.
Yeah, I think that petition is going to have a lot more than that. Yeah. So Steve Hilton put this out. Shocking new whistleblower testimony: 200 migrant kids sent to the same container park. Okay, a container park. You know what a container park is, right? Shipping container park.
There are over 200 migrant children who had been sent to a same location. When she was entering this address, it was just like a lot with containers. She took it upon herself to call that anti-trafficking number, and the next day she got terminated.
Do you think there is any way that Javier Becerra was unaware of this?
No, he was aware.
When we relinquish custody of that child, we have every confidence that we can that adult will take care of that child.
So it says here, as HHS Secretary Javier Becerra dismantled vetting procedures to speed up the release of migrant children who crossed the border alone.
If Henry Ford had seen this in his plan, he would have never become famous and rich. This is not the way you do an assembly line.
In total, 319,000 children were lost, many of them
I remember a case manager who came and said, "Hey, how's the government in El Salvador? I have a 13-year-old whose mom is saying that she's being persecuted in her country, and she's from El Salvador." And I said, well, I could only imagine why. If she was involved with the gangs out there, then maybe that's why. But she's asking what's taking so long with her fingerprints getting released so that we can send the child to her. And that kind of sounded a little shady. And so I remember taking that case to the 2 federal employees that were working there. Within a day or 2, we get the email back that says that the sponsor was wanted by the Interpol. The mom eventually started threatening this case manager. They had to change the case manager's hours because now she was also being followed. The lady that was doing more research and trying to find out what was going on, who was also a federal employee, got escorted out of the facility. Mind you, she's working for the government. She's trying to protect these children, and she got fired.
That was the culture at the Pomona Fairplex, where if you do some diligence and find out if the sponsor is who they say they are, or if they're at a minimum not a wanted criminal, you will be
terminated. I do know of another person. There are over 200 migrant children who had been sent to a same location. When we were doing the background and fingerprints checks, we were supposed to make sure that the address that they were giving was a valid address, that we would use Google Maps to see if that address did exist. And so when she was entering this address, she found out it was like a container place. There was no homes. It was just like a lot with containers. There was like an anti-trafficking number that if we suspected that there was trafficking involved, we were directed to call that number. She took it upon herself to call that number to let them know we've been sending a lot of children here. And the next day she got terminated as well.
Do you think there is any way that Javier Becerra was unaware of this?
No, he was aware.
Yeah. So this Javier Becerra guy, California, it's not so good. So Katie Hopkins put this one up. He says, Piers Morgan says, Americans need to listen to Dr. Fauci, not their president, or many more will die than necessary. Well, Kate's was, how was your day, Piers Morgan, you sanctimonious shit goblin? Still on your knees, gobbling Fauci cock? Yeah. Piers Morgan, who defended Fauci time after time after time after time, pushed the jab and everything else. Yeah, Piers, you. Yeah, you. Maybe that's why Trump kept you close, because he knew that you were going to be a key to this. Yeah. So, and then just wait until this part of the story emerges. And this is Anthony Fauci with his mother. Yeah, Mother Teresa. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, let's go here. Gene Ho. I got 2 from him today.
All right, let's go back in time and talk Covfefe, because you remember Donald Trump posted about that. What does it mean? Well, let's do it this way. If you just take it, and George Magazine been selling this shirt since the beginning of George Magazine because we likened it to these elements, right? So if you had cobalt, vanadium, and iron, and you combine them together into one big thing, what would it be? It would be military-grade alloy, military-grade steel, if it was just those 3 together. However, if you add another Fe, 2 Fes, a Fifi, what would you get? If you could do it, you would get an impenetrable steel that is magnetized. Think about that. If you combine all of them with the extra Fe, you would be a steel that no one could touch. In fact, it would be magnetized, similar, I hate to say it like this, but to Magneto in the X-Men. Anyway, here's the thing. Who would know that? Well, the only person that would know that, because Fe, iron, dimmer, could only be formed for just a little bit of plasma, which was founded by the Tesla coil, Nikola Tesla. And the only person that would ever know about that, other than Nikola Tesla, is John Trump, Donald Trump's uncle.
Telling you there's something to all of that. Yeah. And then Hunter Biden. Oh boy, this is interesting. Here we go.
Hunter's on the warpath. The target, same as the commies.
I'm not running for anything, so I can say whatever the I want. And here's what I think. I think Chuck Schumer's a piece of and that he my dad over. Nancy Pelosi at the time also was involved in that, and so I don't have anything nice to say about it.
We're not
and
fans
you know
of
what?
Nancy.
And I'm supposed to be the guy that says, "Oh, but you know what? What Nancy Pelosi has contributed to this country and to the Democratic Party, I'm not supposed to that, man."
Biden Jr. slashing attacks are drawing blood. Schumer's already wounded, and Hunter's laying the wood to him on Barstool. That's going to get traction with young men. The Democrat Party can't afford to lose any more men. More on that later. Their generals are being disrespected. The revolution's coming right at them.
Trump has turned it into the single most profitable scam of his. Please sit down. Please sit down.
How dare you talk about corruption? How dare you talk about corruption?
Thank you for your diatribe. Now, let's continue. Let's continue and let the people didn't come to hear you.
The Hamas wing wants Chuck's head on a platter, and Hunter's bringing the machete to the fatwa. The party stabbed his dad in the back, but left the son alive. The mainstream media won't put him on. He's banned. And being banned makes you look dangerous, and danger sells. He's a threat to the machine, and he's not a communist. He's carving his own lane.
You know who stood with my dad? 100%. Black Caucus, Hispanic Caucus, the Progressive Caucus, all of the constituent parts of the Democratic Party, which are the base, whether you like it or not. But, you know, who didn't stand with him? The editorial board of the New York Times, the Pod Save America guys, David Axelrod, Rahm Emanuel, all of the technocrats of the Democratic Party that don't have any feel or touch for the actual people that actually organize and vote. But they speak for them all the time. So that part did piss me off.
Respect is everything in politics. But when you lose power, you lose respect. So the party's dragging Joe's name through the mud because it cost them.
People want fighters. I think President Biden and Kamala Harris lost the last election because nobody believed that they were fighters. At least they believed Trump was a fighter. He'd fight with a fire hydrant just for the fun of it.
Hunter Biden's a scrappy cat. A source told me a story about him. He was walking with his brother Bo on a college campus. Some guy poked his head out of the second story of a fraternity house, started yelling at Hunter, "F you, your dad sucks." Bo said, "Don't do it, Hunter." Next thing you know, Hunter runs to the house, climbs straight up the facade, grabs a kid from his collar, throws him down from the second floor window, and just pounds him. That happened so fast, no one even knew what happened. And then they went to the bar. The Democrats could use someone with some animal instincts.
And as it relates to Donald Trump, him, his sons, his daughter. I mean it, all of them, the whole family, down to the grandchildren. I hope for the rest of time that I am on this earth, that their names will live in ignominy.
Democrats are banking on a bruiser. That's not Mamala. And knee pads, never been in the ring with anybody legit. The party is so weak, it's a turnoff. A new Quinnipiac poll says only 20% of men approve of the Democratic Party. It's basically a bachelorette party. They're loud, a little annoying, and spends everybody else's money. You can't win an election without men. Sorry to break it to you, but we're half the vote. Kamala, AOC, guys don't go for that. You can't forget about the fellas.
If you're a Teamster driving a truck out of, up in Lackawanna County in PA, is that, you can vote for Joe Biden because he's probably just as confused as you are about transgenderism, and he's not going to shove it down your throat, okay? And he's going to support your union, and he's going to make it. But really, I think people miss that about that. Like, this focus on 0.2% of the population is insane to me. Like, leave him be, man. Like, Jesus Christ, must be hard enough already. Like, just leave the be.
Hunter wants to throw woke overboard. Pennsylvania is the Keystone State. It's the key to the Democrat comeback. When Democrats win it, they win the White House. Scranton Joe Jr. gets it. And so does Senator Shrek.
Do a bunch of people sit around the room and say, how much kind of crazy we cram into our platform? And now it's like, oh yeah, let's abolish everything.
When a child is 3 years old, you know what their favorite thing to do is? Break stuff. They like the sound it makes. They like watching the pieces scatter, hear it shatter. It's fun. It's cause and effect. They're realizing that they have the power to break stuff. Makes them feel good. They like breaking better than building. Communists are at that stage developmentally. They want to abolish the presidency, the Senate, Pentagon, police, prisons, and of course, ICE.
I think that ICE should be abolished and that the people at the head of this agency and the people that are shooting people in mass, the ICE agents that are killing people should be prosecuted and held accountable under United States courts of law. Let's be clear about who we're ascribing criminality to.
Communism's pretty simple. It's just turning everything upside down and watching it break. It's a revenge against America. They want to arrest the man and open up the prisons.
Would you like to have criminals out in the open?
Well, do I want criminals out in the open? Sure. I'm fine with that because the idea of a criminal is like a little bit funny to me.
Let's just say somebody who has raped a woman.
Totally.
Would you like them to be out in the street?
I think my answer is yes, even though that's a challenging answer to say.
When Joe Schmo comes out of prison after serving his rape sentence, Commie Chris Rob You Blind wants to hand him a paycheck for his hard work.
In Pennsylvania, they earn 19 cents an hour for the same work folks do outside. And how are victims going to get their restitution from incarcerated folks if those folks on the inside who's supposed to pay them back are getting 19 cents an hour?
This is what the Obama-Biden party has come to. They lost the men and are trying to win them back. Not really. They're replacing them with migrants and communists.
Let me tell you, labels, of course, are being thrown around on both sides. I look for progressive values that I have supported over the years and continue to. There are some who are more aggressive than others. Progressives are joining us in this effort, and we need them.
He said it. They need them. They'll take anything or anyone. You know people like that. No standards. People with no standards have no self-respect, and they get walked all over. That's what we're watching. Now, the only way to get respect is to earn it.
I want your viewers to say how much I love to watch Israel eliminating the Hamas leadership.
Then you may like
I
this
know that upsets a lot of your viewers and a lot of your founders.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's a great thing. The question is, where does your trash outlet come from and who's funding it? And now you're sticking a microphone in my face. So,
on your face. Are you okay with Prime Minister Netanyahu being in the United States?
I love killing Hamas leadership.
Say what you want about Fetterman, but he has strong principles and he sticks to them. You can disagree with how he feels about Israel, but you always know where he stands and you respect it. The man's not a weasel. That's why he's a big threat to the left. He's the only one holding the line. That's why they want to put his head on a stake. But Big John's been laughing it off and going on offense.
If someone is frustrated in the Democratic Party, I would be frustrated with someone like Bernie Sanders. Really, Bernie, you have no regret endorsing and proud to stand with an accused rapist, a guy that roughs up his ex-girlfriends, a guy that had a Nazi tattoo on his chest. Some of the things that are outrageous as a Democrat are coming from people in this party, and it's not me.
For far too long, Democrats tiptoed around Bernie Sanders and then had the superdelegates just kneecap him in the dark. Sooner or later, the Democrats are going to have this fight under the bright lights. And Bernie, he wants that smoke.
I would not put too much credibility in what somebody like Fetterman says.
He said you should sit this out.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
So you think I should take his advice? I probably won't. But John, I'm not going to take your advice.
Think about it. This is Vermont versus Pennsylvania. Which state do the Democrats want to side with? Now, Fetterman's from Braddock, a rundown town that saw all its factory jobs move to China. That's a base the party needs if they want to win. But the Bernie bros and the commies, that's not their cup of tea. They're a bunch of wackos with grad degrees. They spend all their money on Grubhub. They're lazy and they're entitled.
People are like, oh, yeah, well, I'm supposed to have that. Well, I deserve that. Well, why don't we have that? Don't we have that? Shouldn't we have that? Who gets that? And then it's like, oh, okay, well, that's democratic socialism.
That's a bad attitude, Bush. You don't deserve anything. You're not entitled to anything you don't work for. Oprah, my girl, has had it with this crowd.
You didn't have no work-life balance at 22, 23?
That's tearing us up, by the way. We're all trying to look for the balance. It ain't fair.
No.
It ain't fair. It's tearing us up.
It's not there. It's not there. You're not supposed to have it. You're supposed to lay in the work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, man, here we go.
Are closing the exits. I have proof, and yours could be next. So we just had a client try and buy physical gold and silver from us. And of course, her bank read her the Riot Act, asking questions. Get this, asking her questions like, where else have you bought gold and silver from? And where do you store your physical gold and silver? Which, first of all, none of your business. Those are completely inappropriate questions. Why do you care? And she told them as much and said, this is making me very uncomfortable, but tried to push forward with the bank wire transfer anyway. Now today, she goes to check on the wire transfer and suddenly can't get into her account. Can't figure out why, what's going on. So what does she do? She calls them and they won't give her any information over the phone. So she has to go in person. And once she's in person, they tell her, oh, we closed your account for suspicious activity. Your check is in the mail. The funds have been withdrawn. We kept your CD, but your checking account, yeah, we just closed it out for suspicious activity. Wouldn't give her any other reasoning. Didn't have anything in writing for her prepared. This is a sweet 7-year-old woman who has done nothing wrong except for, in their eyes, trying to buy real money with her fake fiat currency, trying to exit the system. Now, this woman is thankfully going to be able to get that check in the mail, put it at another bank, and come back and buy her physical gold and silver. But what happens when those questions start getting more intense? What happens when people feel pressure to answer them? And what happens if they close your account? You don't even know where the funds go. Or what if they freeze your account and you don't have access for days, weeks, months? Not only that, if you've been thinking about buying physical gold and silver, at what point do they not want you to leave the system so bad that they completely shut down the exits? If we're looking at a digital dollar or a CBDC situation, you really think that they're going to let you escape the system? Not if they can't make a fee on it or control where and what your dollars are going towards. Again, remember, her account was shut down for suspicious activity. That used to be reserved for the worst of the worst, for outright fraud of the client themselves committing fraud, right? A terrorist type situation. We're not talking about a sweet old woman trying to buy her gold and silver, and they will tell you it's to protect you. They're doing it to protect you. BS. I call BS. It makes no sense if you think about it for any amount of time. You think the banks are trying to protect you? You think the dollar protects you? The greatest wealth transfer of all time has been underway for the last 100 years, and they can and they will change the rules. That's exactly what they're doing now, and they're going to continue to do it to make sure that they remain in control. This is why I try and tell people, do not try and time the system. They're getting more brazen, and they're not going to stop now. Make sure you're protected outside of the system now.
Now, that kind of goes along with, could quite possibly be the reason outside of running a truther channel that I got debanked. Because if you remember back at that period of time when I got debanked, I was buying silver pretty regularly. Then the farm shut down during COVID, and I didn't have bank. I was going crazy just trying to keep groceries coming in, yeah. So I'm curious as to which bank. Yeah. So I'm gonna actually look her up. Taylor Kenny is over. I believe this is on Instagram. I don't think it's that's a TikTok one. This is a. Actually, let me click here. Can you tell me? Tell me. Yes, there is a reason I ask. The same bank. That gave me the same reason for closing mine. Leave that there, and let's see if we get a response from her. So I want to talk about this. We talked about the AIDS virus and Anthony Fauci, and well, let's see what Bill Cooper had to say about Anthony Fauci and the AIDS virus, and yeah.
And AIDS is really going through those populations, and it's really doing a number.
That
blacks, Hispanics, and homosexuals.
That theory has made news. I've heard that before, and
this
it's been
isn't a
debunked
theory.
very clear by the public, saying, "Oh, that's ridiculous." But you're saying that that may indeed be the case.
It's not ridiculous. I actually saw this in documents, and the project name was Project Naomi. MK Naomi was the name of it. It was a CIA project. The AIDS, whatever causes AIDS, whatever that turns out to be, according to those documents, was developed at Fort Detrick, Maryland, under a CIA project called MK Naomi. It was financed by $10 million for the Department of the Army's biological warfare programs. It was carried out, supervised by the CIA, carried out by scientists who worked for the Special Operations Division of the Department of Defense. And it's doing its job.
Disease. I'll get to in some of the latest slides how this disease, which we surmised early on, started off in the male homosexual population in this country. Not that there was anything intrinsically different or wrong or what have you about homosexuality. It was very simple. It's straightforward epidemiology. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population in which the spread among those individuals, if it's sexual contact spread, it's a perfect setup to spread. In any event, what we had was a concentration of cases, as you'll see here, in the New York metropolitan area, New York City and New Jersey, and in Los Angeles. Take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population.
Need I say more? He needs to be held accountable. MK Naomi. Search. And then let's go here. And what I want to do is I want to do this. Let's do this. Let's go over to GPT. Okay. So this is Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm saying to it, I said, break this down so even an undereducated person understands intent. Topic. Let's see what the response is. Plain English explanation of MK Naomi that avoids jargon and makes clear when it was what it was, what is documented, and what remains uncertain. So MK Naomi explained simply: imagine if the U.S. government secretly asked if another country ever attacks us with germs or poison, how do we defend ourselves? And if we had to, could we create those same kinds of weapons ourselves? That basic question led to a classified Cold War program called MK Naomi. It was a joint project between the CIA and the U.S. Army during the 1950s and the 1960s. Its job was to study biological weapons using bacteria or viruses and chemical weapons using poisonous substances. What was the goal? Think of it like this. If your enemy is building dangerous weapons, you may study those same weapons so you know how to, 1, defend against them, 2, detect them, number 3, develop vaccines or protective equipment, and number 4, understand how they work. However, some government documents indicate the program also researched whether these materials could be used offensively if national leaders ever authorized it. So it wasn't just about defense, it included preparing for possible offensive capabilities as well. What did they actually do? According to declassified records, the program worked on things such as collecting dangerous biological materials, storing them securely, researching toxins, developing ways to detect biological attacks, helping the military understand biological warfare. While some documents also discuss maintaining supplies that could be available if national leadership ever ordered their use. Was this human experimentation? This is where many people get confused. There is no evidence that MK Naomi itself was created as a human experimentation program. However, during the same Cold War period, other secret government programs, including the better known MK Ultra, did involve unethical experiments on people. Because these projects existed around the same time and were sometimes managed within overlapping intelligence organizations, many people mixed them together. They were different programs with different missions, even though they existed during the same period of time. Why is it still discussed today? People still talk about MK Naomi because much of it remained secret for years. Many records were destroyed or remained classified. The Cold War created tremendous fear about biological warfare. Secrecy naturally leads to speculation. Some claims made online go far beyond what has been confirmed by historical documents. It's important to distinguish between what has been documented and what remains speculation. So, in one sentence, MK Naomi was a secret Cold War CIA Army program that researched biological and chemical warfare capabilities, primarily to prepare for and defend against those threats, while also maintaining knowledge and materials that could support offensive use if authorized by national leaders. So, and of course, a program that's paid for by U.S. taxpayer funding, because that's where OpenAI came from. It didn't come from their own funding. That came from U.S. funding. Okay. Of course they're not gonna, they're not gonna, do anything about that. So it's but I won't put that out there. It was let's see. All right. And then we go, far left extremists in Madison, Wisconsin have erected an autonomous zone with checkpoints and booby traps in the memory of violent thug and deadbeat dad Corey Ruiz. Oh boy.
you could see just how much the encampment has grown at the site where Corey was shot and killed by Madison police. Protesters have put up a number of tents here. They have people essentially running checkpoints at each side of the encampment, checking who's coming in and out of this site. They even have tire spikes in the perimeter. The city has also put their own salt trucks on one end of the intersection, and they've also scheduled garbage pickup for residents in the area as well as people inside of the encampment.
I can't say, what it's all costing, but I'm sure we'll find out.
But there is, a price tag to keep something like this going.
Certainly. So when we have those salt trucks going, there's overtime involved, certainly. And with any of these other services, yes.
I reached out to Madison's mayor for an interview, which her office declined at this time. But in statements that were released to the public, it said that her office is working to come up with a peaceful resolution to all of this while still honoring Corey. But protesters that I've spoken with here tell me they're not going anywhere until the officer involved in this shooting is facing charges.
Don, is that in your area? Is that in your area of Wisconsin? Where is that? I know it takes. I think there's a delay in this, so it will take a second. Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, Ben's brother Don there. So he's out there in that mix. He's not at that place. He just lives in Wisconsin. That's all. That's it. Don't blame Don. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. And then this here, holy crap, the DNC and ActBlue are running all their payments through a sketchy payroll program who were sued by multiple employees for allegedly withholding pay. This is Sarah. I don't remember her last name.
Then just last month, another former Rippling employee sued the company again, saying he was retaliated against and eventually fired for, once again, taking parental leave. Now, the complaint in that case called Rippling's conduct baseless, vile, and contemptible under any reasonable standard of human decency. Now, in addition to the parental leave allegations, Rippling was also sued by multiple former employees last year over allegedly withholding wages and overtime pay in violation of California's labor laws. Now, here's why all this matters and where it gets even more interesting. The Democrat Party's top institutions run their payroll programs using Rippling, including the DNC and, of course, ActBlue, both of which appear to have switched payroll software to Rippling since last year. So they've reported, all of these political committees, more than $38.5 million in payments to Rippling, including more than $24 million in the 2026 cycle. So that includes payroll expenditures routed through Rippling, not all direct vendor payments. But it just illustrates the depth and the dependence of the entire Democrat political ecosystem on the Rippling platform and company. And it's just, it shouldn't shock you that the Democrats have a double standard. What? They don't actually believe the all of these ideals that they claim that they hold? They want to they say out loud, we want to force mandatory parental leave on companies, but their favorite companies apparently can just skate by without actually abiding by any of that. They're going to profit, actually, by being cruel and vile to their employees. That's the true Democrat way, though, isn't it? The true Democrat way, rules for thee and not for me. And I'm just saying, I found this particularly interesting because we should know, you should know who you're doing business with and who you're giving your money to. And if you are an employer and you are conservative and you don't support that nonsense, I suggest if you're with Rippling, probably move.
Interesting. Yeah. So, this is yeah. It's getting hot. It really is hot. Here we go.
Now we're witnessing an invasion. They are not refugees. No, this is an invasion of mass Islamization of Europe. And so this is a global political agenda by the powerful of the world to destroy Europe, culturally and religiously. I mean, to destroy Christianity ultimately in Europe. Now we are witnessing an invasion. They are not refugees. No, this is an invasion of mass Islamization of Europe. And so this is a global political agenda by the powerful of the world to destroy Europe culturally and religiously. I mean, to destroy Christianity ultimately in Europe. Now we are witnessing an invasion. They are not refugees. No, this is an invasion of mass Islamization of Europe. And so this is a global political agenda by the powerful of the world to destroy Europe.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Today, I just want to mention that we heard in Minnesota there was a cyber attack, and they blame it on Iran. I don't think so. I blame it on Minnesota because they're grossly incompetent. There was a cyber attack of 30 water plants, and I would blame it on Minnesota and the governor, the corrupt governor of Minnesota. They like to say, oh, it was Iran. Iran should be so lucky. Iran's got bigger problems than worrying about Minnesota. Today, I just want to mention that we heard in Minnesota there was a cyber attack, and they blame it on Iran. I don't think so. I blame it on Minnesota because they're grossly incompetent. There was a cyber attack of 30 water plants, and I would blame it on Minnesota and the governor, the corrupt governor of Minnesota. They like to say, oh, it was Iran. Iran should be so lucky. Iran's got bigger problems than worrying about Minnesota. Today.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then here's some more from the White House this morning. Well, not from the White House. They're actually at Camp David.
You know, I saw Spain yesterday, and I watched the catastrophe that took place. It looks like an invasion of a country by hundreds of thousands of people. And that same thing's going to happen to us if the Republicans don't get elected, except worse, much bigger, much easier to get into, despite the fact that we have built thousands of miles of wall, which I said we were going to do, but we didn't have that, forget it. But we have the safest border in the world. If we're not in office, our country will be invaded at levels that made Spain look small time. And when I watched it, I said, boy, I'm going to say it because I knew you were going to be at Camp David. And I say, that's going to be a talking point for the midterms. Because when you look at what happened to Spain, they don't know what to do. And it's happening again today. They're coming in by the tens of thousands. It's just invading the country. And what that is weak law, bad management, but very liberal law. They passed a couple of laws, and people read. You know, people are smart. They read from other countries, and they swam that 3-mile swim or however they got in, but nobody's seen anything like it. That will look good compared to what's going to happen to the United States. The biggest thing, the worst thing that Biden did is allowing 25 million people into our country, because many of those people are criminals. They're murderers. A lot of them, 11,888. A lot of them are gone now. We got them out. But they allowed people to come into this country that you can't allow to come into a country.
Yeah, just not enough of them. And then here's a little more
Of our country. So that's something. Today, I just want to mention that we heard in Minnesota there was a cyber attack, and they blame it on Iran. I don't think so. I think.
Oh, I already played that one. Didn't realize that. And then here we go. Nope, we did that one. Here we go.
Do you agree with the acting attorney general that the anti-weaponization fund is dead? And why not just put that in writing?
It is dead, but, you know, I wish it weren't, to be honest with you. I think people were horribly treated, horribly abused. This has nothing to do with us. This was me. Horribly abused. And I'd like to see them compensated for the pain. They lost their families. They committed suicide. Many people committed suicide. They went down for an innocent journey. And I'm not only talking there, I'm talking about not even having to do with that. the way they were treated. The Biden administration and the Obama administration weaponized government and destroyed lives.
Do you agree with the acting attorney general that the anti-weaponization fund?
Yeah. So that's going to keep getting thrown up. And then we got this here.
The International Criminal Court is an illegitimate international organization that, frankly, illegitimate. They make themselves illegitimate because they claim that even if you're not a member of that court, they can come after you. What that literally means in the future is that American servicemen, political leaders, and others could find themselves under indictment by this International Criminal Court. If you want to know a little bit about it, Jack Smith used to work there. These are the people that think they can go out and basically indict any world leader and haul them into The Hague. So we tried to get them to reform and listen to us. They wouldn't do it. They're very arrogant. We've now begun an effort to really try to bring that court to heel.
By the way, there's no information that they're after me. It could happen. But just so you know, because she's talking about it, I'm saying that means that maybe he's not trying to defend me. He is trying to defend Bibi and various other people. But there are many people that shouldn't be looked at that way. But there is no indication that I'm one of them at this moment.
That's right. Well, and I actually think the people who are in biggest danger in our system are servicemen, people in uniform. But they'll try to go out for the rest of their lives. Will not be able to travel anywhere in the world with their families because they could be arrested on one of these. Imagine, you're a soldier, you fought in a war, and 20 years later they try to come grab you. So this is a big problem. So we've had dozens of countries already join us in this effort. Since we started 2 weeks ago, 5 countries have already quit the ICC and notified them that they're leaving. And we think there'll be more.
Yeah. How about that? How about that? All right, moving on.
For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. We do not seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history. What we want is a reinvigorated alliance that recognizes that what has ailed our societies is not just a set of bad policies, but a malaise of hopelessness and complacency. An alliance is the alliance that we want is one that is not paralyzed into inaction by fear of climate change, fear of war, fear of technology. Instead, we want an alliance that boldly races into the future. For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. We do not seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history. What we want is...
Yeah. And then there's this.
Every time someone tells you the Crusades were an act of unprovoked European aggression, ask them what happened in the 350 years before Pope Urban II stood up at Clermont and called for them. You see, by 1095, the map of the Christian world was being violently redrawn. Within a century of Muhammad's death, Muslim armies had conquered Christian Syria, Palestine, Egypt, the whole of North Africa, and most of Spain and Portugal. They crossed the Pyrenees into France and were checked at the Battle of Tours in 732 by Charles Martel. Constantinople itself was besieged twice, with the second siege in 717 to 718, involving around 200,000 men. And in the end, it failed, but only just. And what life actually looked like for Christians living under this expanding rule of Islam is something that tends to get neglected. The system governing Christian life across the conquered territories was called the Dhimma, which was a legal framework that essentially classified non-Muslims as second-class citizens, and they were subjected to extreme violence if they resisted. The jizya, which was a sort of poll tax payable specifically by non-Muslims as a mark of subordinate status, was levied across the conquered territories. Now, what happened if you couldn't pay it? When Amir conquered Tripoli in Libya in 643 AD, he forced the Christians to hand over their wives and children as slaves to the Arab army as part of tax payment. The slave raiding of Christian populations in Spain and North Africa would continue for centuries. Now, this had a long-lasting impact because over the generations, this created a steady demographic change that gradually reduced many Christian populations to minority status, and in some regions, they eventually disappeared completely, like in Arabia. In Spain, Eulogius of Cordoba, who was a priest and scholar recorded the executions of 48 Christians in the city between 850 and 859 AD. Most were beheaded under the emirs Abdurrahman II and Muhammad I for blasphemy and apostasy under Islamic law. In other words, they denounced Islam and refused forced conversion. Eulogius himself was beheaded in 859 AD. So the immediate trigger for the First Crusade was after the Battle of Manzikert in 1071, where the Seljuk Turks destroyed the Byzantine army and swept across Anatolia. Pilgrims returning to Europe brought reports of harassment, robbery, violence, and murder. And by 1095, the Byzantine Emperor Alexios I formally asked Pope Urban II for Western military help. Roughly 2/3 of the land that had been Christian at the time of the first Islamic conquest had been taken before the First Crusade was ever launched. None of this makes everything that happened during the Crusades justifiable. The massacres, the opportunism, the sack of Constantinople by Crusaders in 1204 are certainly a stain on that legacy. But presenting the Crusades as unprovoked act of aggression requires you to bury your head in the sand and ignore 3.5 centuries of military conquest, a documented system of legal discrimination against Christian populations, slavery, and a formal request for help from the Byzantine Emperor himself. Doesn't excuse everything that came after, but it does explain what Urban II was responding to and why hundreds of thousands of people answered his call.
This right here is the reason for the Crusades. And here are all the countries that used to be Christian countries that were taken over by Muslims, by Islam. Here's everywhere in the Middle East. All of these countries used to be Christian. If you look over here in Egypt and North Africa, all of these countries also used to be Christian, but they were taken over by Muslim extremists who were conquering it for Muhammad and Allah. They were beheading people. They were doing extremely horrible things, including rape to the women and children. And how many people did they kill? That's one of the biggest questions. Well, we do have an estimate here. This estimate comes from Bill Warner from the Center for the Study of Political Islam. He estimates that 60 million Christians were killed, 80 million Hindus were killed, 10 million Buddhists were killed, and 120 million Africans as a whole were killed. This was all in the name of Islam, and they took hundreds and hundreds of thousands of slaves. But you don't read about any of this. But right now, we are being conquered by Islam. The same thing is taking place. They are invading all over Western countries. Crusades will have to come back. Some very prominent people are saying the exact same thing, that we are being overrun by Muslims and the Crusades will have to come back. It's the only way to stop it.
Demographically, because we are already overrun, power sits with the Muslim religion, power sits with Muslim leaders.
Are you done?
And the government.
Is the nation done?
You know, I'll never say we're done because we're still here fighting. I believe there will come a time not too far from now when the British people, true British people, will have to make very difficult choices. Either they will flee eastwards to Eastern Europe with our much more stronger Christian neighbours, Poland, Hungary, those countries, or they will seek asylum, flee, try to come to America, or they will stand their ground. But certainly the time of the Crusades will need to come again if we are to return.
What do you mean by that?
We are overrun in every way, in every sense. Demographically, all births, Muslim births outnumber births to every and all other religion. This is no commentary on anyone's religion. This is just pure fact. Our mayors who control funding in our capital cities are Muslim. Mosques are not churches. A mosque is being built at the outermost, tippy-most end of Scotland and at the furthermost reaches at the end of the other side of our tiny country. This is about a takeover. And of course, America understands, because you have Minneapolis, because you have Dearborn, Michigan, and I see it all the time, these blue centers where they absolutely load it up with multiple occupancy.
Yeah. So that was Wall Street Babes who put that together.
Every time someone tells you the Crusades were an act of unprovoked European aggression.
Here's the link for that. I saw somebody ask for it in chat. There you go. All right. And then Cash Patel.
is how we're going to get after the scam compound frauds that are depriving Americans of billions and billions of dollars. So the FBI launched Operation Blackout, which we conducted with our partners across the world, including in Southeast Asia and the Middle East. And we took down 4 of the largest scam compounds in the world, and we freed thousands of traffic workers, Sean. We seized over $15 billion worth of fraud that was being deprived and stolen from American citizens, and we annihilated these compounds. The main goal is to disrupt, dismantle, and then fully annihilate them with our partners in Southeast Asia, like the Cambodians, the Thais, and the Indians. And we had the Royal Thai Police go in there and literally scuttle a compound. We also use technology with our private sector to suffocate the lifeline of these compounds and shut off 8,000 internet terminals. These are villages. They're not buildings and offices and a guy behind a desk. It requires a global effort, and that's what we did. And just last week, we completed this first ever Scam Center Summit with our partners in Southeast Asia. And on top of that, we're proactive with Operation Level Up. We have literally had 10,000 Americans saved. We saved their life savings and literally their lives because we proactively went to them and said, we think you're being scammed. They responded, and we saved over $500 million worth of life savings from being defrauded by Americans. President Trump's leading out of the fight on fraud all over the place.
Yeah. All kinds of fraud all over the place. So, real quick, because of the time, I'm going to say this now. If anybody feels like donating today, it'd be a great thing because I'd kind of like to get a food order in before it gets too late to be able to get a delivery today. And these are the ways in which you can do that. And while we're taking this momentary break for nonsense such as my ridiculousness, we're going to take a minute for a safety meeting. Actually, we're going to take 4.5 minutes for a safety meeting because I'm going to take my safety meeting in the outhouse. Yeah, that's where I'm going to take it. I'll be back.
The nice cream cake, baby. I'm just letting myself be. Yeah. Well, today's been heavy, I'm not gonna lie. Too many thoughts rolling through my mind. So I grabbed my pipe, took a look around, and told all my worries, y'all can settle down. I ain't running, I ain't hiding, I just need a little room. Sometimes peace shows up quietly and chases out the gloom. There ain't no emergency, ain't no race. Sometimes you just need a little bit of space. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Let the heavy drift away. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. The world's gonna spin with or without me. I'm just gonna sit right here and let myself be. People ask me, smoke, profit, what's the plan? I say, brother, I'm just one old man. Read a little scripture, watch the clouds roll by. Thank the Lord above for another sunrise. I ain't looking for all the answers, I ain't chasing what's out of reach. Sometimes the quiet says a whole lot more than words can never teach. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Let the heavy drift away. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. The world's gonna spin with or without me. I'm just gonna sit right here and let myself be. cake ain't hard to love. Sweet vanilla drifting on the breeze above. I ain't trying to disappear, I'm just putting my worries in another gear. Life gets loud, that much is true, but I don't have to join in too. One deep breath and a little smile, and life gets lighter for a while. No sir, I ain't escaping, I ain't hiding from a thing. I'm just slowing down enough to hear the evening sing. The birds still chirp, the wind still blows. Funny how peace shows up when you let life go. It's an ice cream cake kind of day, sweet vanilla drifting my way. Take a breath, take it slow, ain't nowhere I gotta go. One old Marine with a grateful smile, just enjoying this a little while. The world can hurry if it wants to race. I'm gonna stay right here in my happy place. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Now that's better. Coffee's warm, the sky's looking good, and today's a whole lot lighter than it was an hour ago. That'll do just fine. That'll do just fine.
All right, and we are back with you. I needed that really bad. I drank like I said, as you guys know, I've been up for a few days. With the fires going on, the embers coming down, and the smoke coming through here, trying to keep the dog safe and everything else has been kind of crazy, and so my sleep has been like really deregulated. It's not like what it should be. So I drank a whole bunch of coffee just before I got started. I drank, and some of you know how big that coffee cup is. I drank 3 of them suckers before the podcast, and it was a little bit too much. I got to cut back on that coffee. I love that song too, Donna. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. And thank you for those of you that donated. I'm going to, while we continue on with some of these videos, I'm going to get a food order in. And I'm almost thinking, as hot as it is, it might just be a day to get some sandwich meat and some bread and just, you know what I'm saying? It's maybe even a peanut butter and jelly kind of day, because it's 89 or 90, somewhere around there. Oh, wait a minute. There's a thing on my computer. What does it say? It's 88 degrees. 88 degrees. Yeah. I got a little fan. I got this little fan going, and that thing is actually pretty strong. So I'm not feeling the effects of of that. That last name, Gunnarsson, Todd Gunnarsson. Gunnarsson, wasn't there a Ted Gunnarsson who was in charge of the FBI at one point? He used to go out and do talks in regards to child trafficking and stuff like that. Am I thinking the right person? Name wise, or the name wise, as to Gunnarsson. I think that was his last name. They took him out. Yeah, I heard about it. I did hear something in regards to that. That was a Ted Gunnarsson that happened with. So Todd, I don't know if you're a relation or not, but that guy really woke a lot of people up to child trafficking and how they get away with it. And then he also brought up a whole bunch of things, like Bill Cooper did, in regards to Department of Children's Youth Services, CPS, whatever you want to call them, and the games that were going on with the system back then too. You notice how it's the people who come out and are doing, telling things in the best interest of the public. They always end up being the ones get killed. The good thing is I have quite a few fur bullets around me, and they take care of anything trying to come in here. So it's just, let's just say that. We'll just say that, yeah. Oh, and it's funny. He says my dad's name is Ted Gunnarsson, but he was a physical ed teacher. No, this guy he was like real big in the FBI. Let me see. Um, let's see if it. Okay, so is it spelled the same? Is it spelled? Is this? No, okay. So it is a different spelling. Okay, yeah. So Theodore L. Gunderson was the American Federal Bureau of Investigation agent, author, conspiracy theorist. Some of his FBI work included the death of Marilyn Monroe, the assassination of John F. Kennedy. He was the author of the best-selling book, How to Locate Anyone Anywhere Without Leaving Home. In later life, he researched a number of topics, notably including satanic ritual abuse. And that was a lot of that had to do with like the Department of Children's Youth Services, the state hospitals, places, drug facilities where a child would want to run away from, kind of situation. It's an unsafe place. We talked about the topic, in Alabama, where 11 Department of Prisons individuals, basically law enforcement inside a jail, were abusing kids in the jails. And we're talking kids. We're not talking 18, 19 to 60 years old. We're talking, the 8 years old to 12 years old to 15 years old, before their adult, capabilities, and then you wonder. Yeah, his last name was Gunderson. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, once I started typing it in, it automatically filled it in. So it automatically filled in the name. So that's actually kind of cool how that, how that works. And yeah, I got a few thank yous to send out here. Sorry. All right. Okay, Secretary of War. Here we go. Pete Hegseth. Now this is being now. See, this is the thing. Camp David. This is the first time Trump in Trump's entire time in office. Okay, and we're talking his first administration as well. Okay, that he did not use Camp David. And so this is his very first visit to Camp David, and I'm curious to know why that is, because it was a pretty popular retreat for the presidents, to have a vacation place where they could relax and be out in the country instead of being cooped up in the city all the time. But he didn't stay there. He didn't stay at Camp David. He's now on his way to Bedminster, I think it's in New Jersey, so I'm like, there seems to be some, something about Camp David keeps kind of coming at me, and I'm not sure what it is, but something seems off. Something seems off about it. But here we go. Pete Hegseth this time.
3 points. One, it takes courage. 2, it takes restoring a spirit, which you have done. And 3rd, it takes investment, and not just an investment, but a generational investment. And I think people miss that. The courage it takes to seal the border, to say we're going to do it, and we're going to do it every single day, and we're going to do it on behalf of the American people. The courage to bomb the Houthis and say we will maintain freedom of navigation. I wonder why they're not involved in this conflict, the Houthis, even though they're a proxy of Iran, because they felt the weight of American power for 45 days, and you had the courage to do that. The courage to do Midnight Hammer and conclude the 12-day war by obliterating their nuclear sites, something other presidents had the option on their table to do, but they never pulled the trigger because of the complications, because of the challenges, because of the risk. Courage. The courage to take on the cartels and drugs, drug boats, and now forming the ACCC, the America's Counter Cartel Coalition, with all those friendly governments that Marco talked about who want to be shoulder to shoulder, not just with America, but with a bold, strong America with clear leadership. The courage to go get Maduro in the most dangerous, most heavily guarded house, inside the most heavily guarded fort, inside the most heavily guarded town in their capital city in the middle of the night, and change the entire dynamic of that country and that region. And the world saw what the American military was capable to do, but that doesn't happen unless the commander-in-chief says you're authorized to do it, and will take the handcuffs off when you do it to ensure that Americans come home. The courage to undertake epic fury and this Iranian regime and ensure they never have a nuclear weapon, which remains your commitment. And frankly, the courage to negotiate with people that have shown no willingness to do so honestly, with incredible negotiators who are the best in the world, and give them every opportunity to do it, give those things up peacefully. All of that takes guts.
Yeah. So, generational investment. Yeah. And then we got Johnny. Here's Johnny with from the Jesse Waters.
Dr. Fauci, good guy or bad guy?
I don't know who that is.
I'd say bad guy.
Bad guy.
Very bad guy.
Good guy. Smart people are really nice to have.
I like him. Why?
I don't know. I can't put a finger on it.
He's a hero.
What would we do without him?
We would be lost without him.
I look to him to lead my life.
Yes.
Snap out of it. Fauci was the brains behind all the shutdowns. Was that a good idea?
No, people went crazy.
I basically only had like 1 year of high school. Totally needed.
You didn't want to see anybody anyway.
No.
It depends on what we learned from it.
Well, what did you learn?
To not talk so much.
They made it like really hard to get toilet paper and
I have to go to the bathroom. Do you miss your mask?
so out of pocket. I do not miss my mask.
I have asthma and I couldn't breathe.
Messes up with the beard, man.
Do you know he kind of made up the mask guidance?
Seriously, wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that part.
Aww.
You're losing my sway with him. That's okay.
Did you social distance?
I wasn't able to work.
Me and my friends didn't care about that at all.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Did you know that he made social distancing up?
Oh, wow.
I did not.
Fauci, come on, man.
Bad guy. Him.
Did you get vaxxed?
Absolutely not.
I got both. I got the booster too. They required that the second year.
Did you get COVID after the vax?
Like a million bajillion times.
So did it work?
It did not work.
How many times have you had COVID?
6 times.
Is the 7th one free?
Damn it. He made me laugh.
Now he got his hands on his diary, where he wrote down things and went on TV and said the opposite. He said on TV that COVID deaths were around 3%, and then he wrote in his diary they were around 0%.
That's ridiculous.
What the hell?
You got to put fear in people's heart in order to get them to move the way you want them to move.
Little white lie. It's called a little white lie.
A little white lie doesn't hurt anybody.
Well, yeah, in this case, yeah.
It just gave a bunch of students mental health problems because they kept them out of school.
Yeah, but in my mind, of course, it was needed because I didn't want to spread it.
He also wrote in his diary that he's more sexy than Tyra Banks.
She's drop dead gorgeous. Him, on the other hand, it's an old wrinkly man.
Okay, good. Okay, well, that's fine.
What do you want to tell Fauci?
I love you, Dr. Fauci.
I want Dr. Fauci to know that he can go himself. He seems like someone that just needed, like what I say, a good friend.
And his friend was his diary?
It may have been.
Dear diary.
Joe Biden gave Dr. Fauci a pardon.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think he did that?
Perhaps he was guilty of crime. That insinuates that Dr. Fauci is guilty as hell.
Clearly, Joe Biden saw something before the rest of us.
He was in Congress today and he pleaded the fifth over 100 times. Does an innocent person plead the fifth?
Probably not.
Of course he did. What else is he going to say? I lied?
Not over 100 times. Statistically, no.
They asked him what color was his tie.
He pleaded the fifth to what color was his tie?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything you say, fifth.
Where did the coronavirus even come from?
Something like Wang Hu, I think.
Wuhan.
Wuhan. Yeah, see, I was close.
Created in a lab from a monkey.
It was a bat.
Oh, is it the monkey and the bat that a boom chicka wow wow?
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay.
Do you know who I am?
I do not.
Here's Johnny.
Oh,
Weird. Very, very weird. Very weird. Is it just me, or was that weird? I felt a little off because of that. I did. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I felt kind of off about that, and I have many questions as to how these people can be so fucking stupid. Fuck. You know, and this is the thing is, and I want you guys to think about this, okay? We had people yelling and cursing us and everything else because of the fact that we wouldn't put a mask on, okay, or we wouldn't go and get vaxxed. And now all these people are coming out and we're sorry we said something to you, we were wrong, and we're supposed to just forget it, you know. I'm kind of like not part of the party of tolerance anymore. Does that make sense? Common sense is where I like to be, and if common sense tells me that you're a jackass, then I'm going to tell you that you're a jackass. I mean, isn't that the way that it should be? Isn't that the way that it should be? You know. Common sense, you know. So okay, so I got another one from Steve Hilton for you guys, and this is I played you that one on Javier Becerra earlier. Okay, this is the second one that Steve Hilton put out.
Let me tell you what Javier Becerra oversaw. He was the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and he spent $707 million at the Pomona Fairgrounds to process 10,000 unaccompanied migrant children. The contract awarded by Becerra was awarded on a non-competitive basis to a company called Cherokee Nation Management from Oklahoma. There was no bidding process. If there had been, it would have tested price, capability, alternatives. The $700 million award represented 50% of that contractor's total revenue for the year. That's an extraordinary concentration of business risk that any trained financial eye would have recognized as a significant red flag. This contractor also had no prior experience operating large-scale child welfare facilities. The cost came to $70,000 per child processed on what Becerra coldly described as an assembly line. These children stayed an average of 10 to 14 days in a tent. That works out to $7,000 per child per night.
You caught that? $7,000 per child per night. Okay, per child per night. $10,000 kids per night. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. United States stands with the people of Spain and all Europeans against this egregious violation of their sovereignty and human rights. This unacceptable incident is the direct result of the Spanish government's deliberate efforts to enable and facilitate mass illegal migration into Europe. We are considering actions to defend Americans at home and abroad from this threat and stand ready to assist other European allies considering similar options. And this is the thing, okay? So Spain just let themselves be overrun. What happened a week ago? What happened a week ago? Or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Trump was speaking at the place and said, "Let's we're ending all trade with Spain. Spain is cut off." And then less than 2 weeks later, we got Spain being invaded. Just saying. Saying there might be something to it. Might be something to it. And, you know, and this is what I mean. Stupid is as stupid does. Okay. And I was just, oh no, that's not a bribe. Okay, that's not a bribe. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's it. I actually started late. I didn't stay late. Yeah, it's I'm still tired, but I'm not. It's like if I went and laid down right now, I wouldn't go to sleep. I'd just lay there and toss and turn for an hour and irritate the piss out of myself, and then fall asleep, and then I'd wake up grumpy. So it does like no good. It does no good. Okay, Hawaii. I'm Hawaii. Those of you in Hawaii, those of you from Hawaii, those of you that are native to Hawaii, this is your history on Memorex.
Do you not want America to be the best country? I do.
But you know, I'm from Hawaii and I want
You're
the best.
an American. Hawaii's in America.
No, we're not part of America.
What is Hawaii part of?
Hawaii.
Is it a country?
It's its own
Hawaii
little.
is a state in America.
That's what you've gotten wrong. It's not.
So is Alaska not part of America then?
It owns its own territory. It makes its own laws. It's not the U.S. that makes
But
it.
it's part of the country of.
Yeah, but it's still not because it.
So if I were to travel to Hawaii, I wouldn't get my constitutional rights because it's not part of America.
You're allowed to pee on the side of the road.
In Hawaii?
Yeah.
Hawaii, I, as an American, apologize to you. Either maybe one too many surfboard incidences, maybe his head got stuck in the coral reef. Maybe he got the Jabberwocky and it's in full effect. I don't know, but I'm just saying, okay. I'm just it's oh boy. Yeah. It's I don't even know what to say, guys. I'm like, it's something happened to him, okay, that changed his life forever. Okay. Or maybe we just helped to change it even more because it's you got 130, 150, 175 people watching on different platforms, and I'm sure that somebody's going to end up sharing, even if you just clip out that one part there and share that, that would be enough to to yeah, it's the yeah um uh 1 second. Okay. Yeah, right. Distractions. I'm distracted again. Not. I'm okay. Elon Musk pledges 100 million for America First. Okay, now the last time he did money, wasn't it about getting people to register to vote or something? I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what he did, but this is the new one.
Well, number one, think about where we were this time last summer. Elon Musk was mad at the president, mad at the party, and was threatening to start another political party. Now he's going to spend $100 million for the Republicans. Thank God, because he was an integral part of the Republicans winning in 2024, and the party needs him. And he's going to be better off, I think, with Republicans than Democrats for the rest of his life. But, it's interesting. When I interviewed Elon for the book that I wrote about President Trump's first 100 days in office, I could tell then, this was last year, that he was kind of bent out of shape with both parties in Washington. He didn't think there were enough people in Washington who shared his concerns about the national debt, the immigration crisis, the looming, what he thinks is maybe a bankruptcy crisis for the United States of America when you consider $40 trillion in debt. So I can understand why, if you're disappointed with everybody, you wouldn't want to spend much money on politics. But for right now, given the stakes of this election and given the fact that Western civilization is on the ballot, and I know how much he cares about that, I'm glad to see him come to the Republican Party.
Yeah, just saying. Elon's stepping up to do some more. Now, fear mongering, or deception. Those are two big things, right? Because one thing that we try not to do is we try not to throw all this fearful crap out there, because we know in the end God wins, right? But at the same time, we can't ignore when people step up and say things. And this is former high-ranking U.S. government official Bijan Kian, who served in 3 presidential administrations. I'm now I want to look at this, and I want to I want to do this because I want to see who he was who he worked under. Okay, so he's an Iranian American businessman. All right, he served as a member of the board of directors of Export Import Bank of the United States, Ex-Im Bank. He later became a business partner of retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Michael Flynn in the Flynn Intel Group. See, now this is why I do this sometimes. When I see something, I'll I want to look into this a little bit more. Okay. All right. So he later became a business partner. Okay. Business partner of retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Michael Flynn in the Flynn Intel Group. Okay. Kian was indicted in 2018 on charges related to acting as an unregistered agent of a foreign government and conspiracy arising from lobbying and influence work connected to Turkish interests. After a multi-year sequence of trial and appeals, the U.S. Department of Justice moved to dismiss the case, and the district court dismissed the indictment with prejudice in 2023. Okay, so he was nominated by George W. Bush to the board of directors of Export-Import Bank, and was confirmed by the Senate in 2006. Okay. Bush later announced an intent to nominate him for an additional term expiring in January 2011. Okay. There's a bunch there. So it would have been under Bush and Obama. He would have been there, Bush and Obama. Because he was 2011, right? 2011? Yeah. So it would have been Bush and Obama.
They are plotting. They're plotting to somehow do an October 7th style on facilities, American facilities, take Americans hostage, take them to Iran, and then you say, "Oh, Bijan, come on, that's a far-fetched idea. They're not going to do that." Okay, if the world wants to sit back and say that, then expect the same results that happened to us 9/11 and October in Israel. The tragedy, October 7th tragedy. We should not allow that. That's why people should not ignore it. There's too much politics to it, too much partisanships. A lot of people who don't like President Trump for whatever reason, and some of them they can't even tell you why. But they have various opinions, constantly influenced by others. You cannot ignore that. So this environment is really not as pure, not as pristine as it should be. So that's why I think that's the question is, you ask, how possible is this plot? Well, same questions you should have asked before 9/11 and same questions you should have asked before October 7th. It is in their ability to do that. They've shown signs that when they come and say, we will take Americans hostage and collect $1 billion for each, take them seriously.
So, and look at her face all lit up like, ooh, yeah, he's giving me something juicy. Okay. And the thing is, these are the kind of reports that are coming out, and it's and I didn't want to negate them, make them seem like they're just bluster, but you have to decide that for yourself, and we'll have to go from there. So let's go here.
What is the status of talks? Who from the administration is talking to the authorities?
But they break their word so often. Steve is talking, Jared. We have very good people. JD's involved, very strongly involved. We have great people talking. Marco's involved.
Because they say talks aren't happening.
Very good people. We have the best people. But they'll make a deal. As an example, we'll talk about nuclear. And we'll be in there talking about nuclear for 7 hours. I say, why do you need 7? You can take 10 minutes. You have 5 minutes. You should solve it. But 7 hours. And then they'll go out. And I'll say, they discuss nuclear. And they'll go out and they'll say, we never discussed nuclear. And I say, why do they say that? All they do is make me angry. You just make me angry.
What is the status of talks? Who from the administration?
I'm angry. Yeah. Turned into the incredible president. Yeah, that's what he's done. He's turned into All right. And then Benjamin Netanyahu and his son Yair Netanyahu have been calling for an invasion of Spain's cities of Ceuta and Melilla by Arabs and Muslims since at least 2019. Netanyahu's son wrote, "Dear Arabs and Muslims want to free occupied Arab Islamic lands. Here's a good start." Earlier this year, Netanyahu stated that Spain had decided to stand up against Israel and that he would make an example of the country. I do not intend to allow any country to wage a diplomatic war against us without paying an immediate price. Yeah.
שוב ושוב להתייצב נגד ישראל. מי שתוקף את מדינת ישראל במקום את משטרי הטרור, מי שעושה זאת, לא יהיה שותף שלנו לגבי עתיד האזור. אני לא מוכן לסבול את הצביעות הזאת ואת העוינות הזאת. אני לא מתכוון לאפשר לאף מדינה לנהל נגדנו מלחמה מדינית בלי לשלם על כך מחיר
Yeah, straight from the horse's mouths. Yeah. And then Catherine Herridge, the pen. You know, we were told to follow the pen. We'll have to look into that too. Let's do that before we hit the pen. Let's go here. Let's see. 17. There's 17. 17. 17. 17. Yeah. Just for today. Yeah. All right. So infiltration. Only those who could, can, in kill brackets, be controlled via blackmail or like beliefs were installed in critical leadership positions across all political and non-political control and command positions. CCP. CCP necessary in kill brackets to ensure protective blanket insurance. Traitors everywhere. Democratic leadership in kill brackets in joint ops with China. CCP in effort to regain power. It was never about the virus. Sequence of events. Flynn first strike designed to 1, cripple, 2, prevent exposure of illegal acts. Hussein, White House Commander-in-Chief, through national security intel discovery. Install controlled replacement. Rogue One, McMaster. McMaster removal of loyalist intel community national security. Install controlled. Rogue 2, Coates, DNI. Prevent D-class. House Senate blockade. Pre-install Rogue 3 through 6. Referrals to POTUS regarding McMaster's, Coates, Ray, and Bolton. Install controlled Rogue 7, Bolton. Bolton removal of loyalist intel community national security. Intel community national White House essential to control infiltration to prevent D-class public exposure of true events. Illegal surveillance, Republican candidates, 1 and 2. House members, 1 through X. Senate members, 1 through X. Journalists, 1 through X. Ambassadors, 1 through X. And classifications 1 through 99 events. Mueller termination, loss of power. POTUS inside of the box. Prevent counterattack. Impeachment installed. Mueller termination, loss of power. POTUS inside of box. Prevent counterattack. C-19 insurance plan above fail. C-19 installed. Impeachment termination, loss of power. POTUS inside of box. Prevent counterattack. COVID-19 stage 1, inform POTUS, Intel plus CDC plus WHO plus senior advisors. In kill brackets. Nothing to fear. Do not close travel. Do nothing. The political setup. Kill brackets. COVID-19 stage 2. Inform POTUS of doomsday inaccurate scenarios. Kill brackets. Models. Predicting death count. 1 million plus. The political force lockdown, wipe economic and unemployment gains. Stage 3, activate controlled Dems governments to spike death count and project statewide fear by presenting alarming on-ground conditions, hospital care supplies, projections. Stage 4, push testing to spike infected rate incline due to daily testing, Inc., the political setup. Controlled MSDNC, failure to report death counts, rates, proportional to infected rate, deliberate, miscounting of infected numbers, percentage. Change. Wow, this one goes on and on and on. I'm not going to keep going. 24-hour warning. This is 3568. 24-hour warning. Be vigilant. See something. Say something. Know your surroundings at all times. And then we got Sea Guardian article. How do you get ahead of a story? Coincidence? And let's see. Transcripts are out tomorrow. The first demonstrable proof to show that not only did we not collude, but the whole world was against us, and Donald Trump still won in 2016. When it's all said and done, the story will be a global effort to take us down that backfired big time. Yeah. So, and then let's get down to the next. And then secret text cast light UK early roll Trump Russia inquiry. And that's when in regards to Peter Steele. And then just got home from rally. Here's the back of the VIPs. The which one is this? Oh, Great Awakening is banned. Yeah, they're banned from Reddit. Why? Because Patriots, thank you. And then we got that was I believe that was Q t-shirts. Q t-shirts. All right. And Q signs that were out there that people were seeing. Yeah. All right. I know it's a bit late, but thank you for the IR in real life view. Watching a rally on TV does not come anywhere near the atmosphere of a rally in person and up front. I had a blast, and to tippy top it off, I found out I was a Q drop. Best day ever. We saw you, Patriots. God bless. Where we go on, we go all. The article is pretty damning and pretty authoritative. Writer is former FBI special agent. Best article I've seen yet to lay out the facts of the complex scenario as they are presently known by the public. And this is FBI collusion. And it's funny that the Boston Herald is now censoring itself. Really? Enjoyed the show. Yeah. All right. And we already know that the Great Awakening is no longer there. Did the person holding the Q cutout ever post the pic video? No source as of yet. Yeah. All right. And then what are the FBI and the CIA hiding? And this was from the Wall Street Journal. See if the article is all. So did the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, lead the Federal Bureau of Investigations down a rabbit hole in the counterintelligence investigation of Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign? So that's what that's referring to. And then let's keep going down. And then we got pastebin.com, an image here. Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with, that's his speech. Okay, we are Q. Congratulations on 3,000 breads, MAGA. Congrats, gift. Tony Podesta under investigation under special counsel referral. So, and I have no idea what ended up happening with that. I never. The world is about to change. To the person holding the Q cutout, please post your pics video. As POTUS specifically pointed at you moments ago, we will scrub the web to find the source, no matter where posted. We are Q. At 1776, yeah. Without the pen of the author of Common Sense, the sword of Washington would have been raised in vain. John Adams. Yeah. And then here's the images from the how often does the presidential motorcade honk upon request? Beep, beep, not a Russian bot. Oh, you got to admit that is pretty good, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right. And that was the Tampa rally. Looking great. Where we go one, we go all. Yep. Finally, public domain. Rob Rosenstein exonerated Manafort for the same charges 8 years ago. And can you locate the original court documents? There's a lot of Rosenstein, Rob Rosenstein. Wow. So I guess that means there's going to be a lot of Rob Rosenstein coming up over the next couple of weeks. I mean, we did have Bill, what's his name? Bill, fuck, my brain just did a complete burnout, blackout. Yeah. Bill Barr. So somebody ran into him in Washington, D.C. and asked him what he was doing there. And he was like, get that fucking camera out of my face. Is basically what he did. It's kind of weird. You know, it's almost like he got caught doing something, maybe. Yeah. So, and then 1772 from justice.gov, Joshua Adam Schulte, charged unauthorized disclosure, classified information, and other tracking, unsealed indictment. Possibilities. Charged with the unauthorized disclosure of classified information and other offenses related to the theft of classified material from the Central Intelligence Agency. Yeah. So this fool got himself into some trouble. Just a little bit of trouble. And then finally, public domain.
I didn't know that music was for me.
Yes.
God bless you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. All right, let's go to Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yes.
Paul Manafort, who was the president's campaign manager when he was running for president, standing trial. But it's not for collusion. It's nothing about Russia, or is it?
Well, there's a couple things to look for. It is nothing about Russia. And in fact, the government suffered a rare setback because judges never say this, even though it's so obvious. So the judge says to the prosecutors, look, this has nothing to do with what Bob Mueller was appointed for. You just want to squeeze Manafort. That's the only reason he's in my courtroom. Now, everybody knows that happens, but rarely do judges, a Princeton graduate, this judge, T.S. Eliot, long before you and I were there, said that to the government, and it was sort of a brushback push to them. So he's going to be watching and making certain that this is just about the prosecution of Paul Manafort for financial misdeeds, basically laundering money and not paying taxes and lobbying for a foreign government without registering as an agent. Here's his defense. Well, first of all, Rudy Giuliani, and I've been critical of him because some of the things he said yesterday are so inconsistent with what he said before. But this he's going to do. He will have a team of lawyers in the courtroom to report immediately if anything is mentioned about Russia or about President Trump. Here's Manafort's defense. I was investigated for all this by the government 8 years ago, and I was exonerated. And I'm going to put on the witness stand as my first witness the young lawyer who exonerated me. Do you know who that young lawyer is? Rod Rosenstein.
What?
Yes. So this is going to be quite a show if they succeed in getting Rosenstein to now
So
run
why
for
was
Justice
I innocent
Department.
then and guilty now?
There you
Does
go.
he have something on the president? Is that what they're trying to say here?
We don't know. He has never been interviewed by a grand jury or by Bob Mueller's team. They expect that he does. He's been in solitary confinement. As soon as this trial's over, he's got another trial for a different set of financial crimes across the river in Washington, D.C. They're putting about as much pressure as the law allows them to, consistent with the Constitution.
Amazing. But as the court filing itself says, the trial has absolutely nothing to do with collusion.
Correct. So there'll be so many, not just Giuliani's people, us, the media will be watching every word that comes out. He was the campaign manager.
Had a lot of big expensive cars and houses.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
All that happened before he was the campaign manager.
Absolutely,
But
Pete.
didn't pay
Everything
taxes,
happened.
is that right?
That's the allegation, that he laundered money, that he acquired money by some illicit means, sent it through a circuitous route, entered the U.S., and when the time it got here, it was a fraction of what it was over here, so that he only had to declare this very small amount. Second thing we're looking for is the key witness against him, and that's Rick Gates. Because Gates was his business partner and was the number 2 person in the Trump campaign during the time that the meeting with the Russians occurred. Now, again, the prosecutors have assured Judge Ellis, you will not hear the word Russia. You will not hear the adjective Russian. We assure you there wouldn't, unless the defense brings it up, we assure you our witnesses will never raise it. That remains to be seen. We're talking about a 3 or 4 week trial, followed by another 3 or 4 week trial.
Well, if Rod Rosenstein is the lead-off witness,
oh my goodness,
he goes back. Yeah,
you could sell tickets.
So, so as we're looking at this, we understand what the Rod Rosenstein was all about, right? Unsealed indictment is, just saying, there's something to it. Vault 7, CIA hacking tools revealed. A series of leaks on the U.S. intelligence agency, codenamed Vault 7 by WikiLeaks, is the largest ever publication of confidential documents on the agency. 7th March of 2017. Track last. Julian Assange, offline cause. Q. Just saying. There's something going on. Yeah, 17 posts today. Yeah. So I wonder if I didn't watch the whole
because we've been able to increase the pace at which we are able to discharge some of these children into the hands of responsible vetted custodians.
Becerra toured the Pomona Fairplex, where he says there are currently just over 1,300 children.
Faster. We have to move faster.
Mr. Becerra, this is the 200th child connected to the same address.
Do you realize how bad this is for my image?
The same address has appeared again and again. We aren't even seeing these sponsors face to face. We're communicating through WhatsApp.
We're being told that these children are being sent to child sex traffickers. They're being exploited for child labor. One 14-year-old boy just had his arm ripped off in an industrial accident.
I'm worried these children are being sent somewhere unsafe.
What is your name?
My name is Joanna Cortez.
How long have you been working here?
I've been working at this Pomona facility for 3 months.
Terminate her!
No, please! I need this job!
Speed this up! If Henry Ford had seen this in his plans, he would have never become famous and rich.
And we think about child trafficking, and that's where it takes us. So, yeah, so that's where we're going to end it for today. We're going to pick up, we'll pick up where we leave off tomorrow. I got food that's actually going to get here. I ordered it while we were doing this, and it's going to get here in a few minutes. So, thank you for those of you who donated. I appreciate it. And, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to have pizza for dinner and I'm going to eat a salad. Yeah, I'm going to eat a salad. Maybe I'll get some explosive diarrhea, throw a little compelling interlude into my ever evolving craziness out here. Yeah, because I mean, who doesn't want a little exploding diarrhea every once in a while, right? I mean, who doesn't? I mean, seriously, why wouldn't you want it? I'm just saying, everybody needs a little exploding diarrhea every once in a while. It lets you know you're alive. And it gives you a reason to clean the bathroom an extra time a day for a week or so. Oh Lord. Thank you for putting up with me. Yeah, I can't believe God puts up with me. I can't believe it. But I will see you guys again tomorrow. Tomorrow. And until we see each other again, remember, God loves you, Jesus loves you, I love you. And you need to keep your head somewhere.
Woke up this morning to a world on fire. Everybody shouting, climbing walls of wire. Fear on the TV, lies across the screen. Hard to know these days what anything means. But I hear my Father's voice down in my soul. Stand up straight, don't let the darkness take control. Love your neighbor, hold the line, stay alive. Open up your eyes and let your spirit drive. Don't let the noise pull you under. Don't lose your heart in the thunder. Keep your head on a swivel, keep your eyes on the light. There's still love in the middle of the fight tonight. When the road gets narrow and the world feels cold, keep your heart wide open and never let go. Keep your head on a swivel, but your soul on the rise. There's a whole lot of beauty still left in these eyes. Yeah, the world may shake, but we're not gonna break. We were born for more than survival. Little old lady waving from a porch swing. Kids on the sidewalk still learning to dream. Somebody praying in the middle of pain. Somebody dancing in the pouring rain. There's still good people helping strangers stand. Still working hard with calloused hands. Still holding family, still holding faith. Still finding hope when it all feels late. Don't let the fear define you. There's still a fire inside you. Keep your head on a swivel, keep your eyes on the light. There's still love in the middle of the fight tonight. When the road gets narrow and the world feels cold, keep your heart wide open and never let go. Keep your head on a swivel, but your soul on the rise. There's a whole lot of beauty still left in these eyes. Yeah, the world may shake, but we're not gonna break. We were born for more than survival. Oh, don't forget who you are. You were made from the dust and the stars. Oh, even when shadows fall, love is still the strongest thing of all. Keep your head on a swivel, don't lose your grace. Every scar tells a story, every soul has a place. And if somebody stumbles, you help them stand tall. That's the kind of strength that can heal us all. Keep your head on a swivel, keep your faith alive. There's still hope for tomorrow as long as we try. Yeah, the world may change, but love remains, and that's how we survive.